just so that housekeeping
Yeah.
is almost done. Wonderful, wonderful. Let's see.
Está muteada. Ahí está, ahí está. Okay. Hello.
Hello?
Uh, so can I start now, or do we wait a
Give
little longer?
give us just a couple of more minutes so that we can make sure that the main room is transferring. Sophia is the moderator for this session. She will open the session for you. And then 5 minutes prior to close, she will come back and close our session and bring us back to the main room. And again, this session is recorded if you were not here when I started recording. Sophia, if just 2 more minutes, okay?
Sure,
Okay.
I'll wait 2 more minutes and then I'll open the session.
Wonderful.
Thanks.
I think we can start, Sophia.
Okay, perfect. Well, hello everyone. This is Sophia here. I'm your moderator for this session. So welcome to World Future Day Young Voices. This session is brought to you by Teach the Future, a global nonprofit dedicated to embedding futures literacy in education worldwide. World Futures Day is a partnership with the Millennium Project, and right now we are all part of a 24-hour global conversation about our futures, creating a space where all generations, especially young voices, can share their visions, concerns, and action-driven projects towards a better tomorrow. Let's make this conversation count, and you can find the facilitator bios on the event page. So facilitators, take it away.
Well, hello everybody. My name is Michel Marmol, and I'm a member of the Joint Voices Council. It's an honor to be here as a part of this 20-hour journey about our futures. We are joining you from the Living Lab at Expedition FEMSA, located at Tecnológico de Monterrey, here in Monterrey, Mexico. In this session, inside the Futures Classroom, Data Experience and Dream Voices, my role is to be your bridge between research and live experience, data and emotions, and generations. Let me introduce you to the people that will be joining us today in this incredible journey. First of all, we have Sergio Torres, a physical engineer from Tecnológico de Monterrey and a specialist in science and AI, an educational experimentation specialist at the IFE Living Lab, which is where we currently are. He's a master at designing environments where emerging technologies can be tested in real education settings and works into making classrooms not just smart, but measurable. Next up, we have Fabiola Marmol, who is a mentor, consultant, speaker, and a founder of Mindshare, which is an edtech startup focused on helping children and young people design their future. She's a specialist in business, entrepreneurship, and educational innovation. She holds a bachelor's in business administration, 2 master's degrees from tech, and an MBA in human resources. Next up, we have Elvira Luna Hernandez, a specialist in strategic foresight and educational innovation. She's a teacher of strategy and innovation in both English and Spanish. She holds a master's in foresight and education, and her work focuses on integrating emerging technologies to enhance learning and decision-making in higher educations. Last but not least, Eric Ordaz, a graduate in strategy and business transformation from Tecnológico de Monterrey. He has been involved in change management, talent development, and initiatives aligned with the UN 2030 agenda. He's a part of the Leaders Program at Tech Ambassador, who today brings us something essential, the student's perspective. Because future literacy isn't theoretical, it's lived. Fabiola, let's begin.
Thank you, Michel. Hello, everyone, and happy World Futures Day. Today, we are honored to share a project we developed at the Living Lab of the Institute for the Future of Education at Tecnológico de Monterrey called Inside the Future Classroom, an initiative designed to strengthen anticipatory thinking to immersive, collaborative, and data-informed learning experiences. Our work is increasingly volatile, uncertain, and complex. Preparing students for predefined answers is no longer enough. We must prepare them to imagine, question, and shape possible futures. This project was created precisely with that purpose. At Tec de Monterrey, we developed this experience inside what we call the experiential classroom, a space designed to integrate immersive technologies, collaborative methodologies, and learning analytics. The project combines 3 main pillars: social constructivism and experiential learning, anticipatory thinking as a key 21st century competence, neuroeducation, and multimodal learning analytics. We align the experience with UNESCO Futures Literacy Laboratory methodology, particularly phases 1 and 2, moving from tacit assumptions to explicit reflection, and then reframing perspectives through alternative future scenarios.
The experience involved 170 students from architecture, business, entrepreneurship, and management programs across the 4th, the 6th, and 8th semester. Students engage in immersive simulations using virtual reality platforms such as Archeo and Little Cities. These environments allow them to design, analyze, and rethink strategic decisions in simulated future context. But what makes this project unique is that we didn't only evaluate what students produced. We measured how they experience learning. We used EEG headsets to monitor brainwave activity, capturing attention, cognitive progressing, and engagement, and Embrace Plus wearable devices to collect physiological signals such as electrodermal activity, heart rate variability, and skin temperature. This allowed us to explore the emotional and cognitive dimension of participatory thinking. The scale of the data collected was significant, over 207,000 EEG records, more than 607,000 physiological readings from Embrace Plus. All data were processed, scaled, coded, and integrated into a unified database for visualization in Microsoft Power BI. What did we find? Students showed high levels of engagement and immersion during VR-based future simulations. Many reported entering states of flow, increased motivation, and stronger emotional connections to the learning activity. More importantly, students demonstrated measurable improvements in their ability to identify challenge assumptions, reframe present realities, develop strategic proposals for medium and long-term futures. Satisfaction levels were exceptionally high, especially regarding collaborative work and immersing phases aligned with the future literacy methodology.
What does this mean for education? It means that anticipatory thinking can be intentionally designed, practiced, and measured. It means that immersive environments do not replace pedagogy, they amplify it. And it means that combining experiential learning with physiological data opens new possibilities for understanding not just what students learn, but how they learn cognitively and emotionally. The experiential classroom becomes not just a space, but a living laboratory of futures literacy.
Now, instead of only telling you about the experience, we would like you to see it. In the next segment, we will briefly introduce the devices used in the study, the EEG system and Embrace Burst wearable, and explain how they capture real-time physiological data during immersive activities. And most importantly, you will hear directly from one of the students who participated in the study. Because future literacy is not only about data, it's about young voices. Thank you, and welcome to the next part of our journey into the future.
Thanks. But now I want to shift the perspective. What does it actually feel like to learn inside a classroom where all emotions and brainwaves are measured in real time? We're going to be moving from data to experience. Before listening to Eric, I want to ask all of you something. If you were asked to wear an EEG headset and a biometric device in class, how would you feel? Please go to menti.com and scan this QR code to respond. Don't be afraid. All answers are good answers. We're gonna give it like a bit of time so we can all vote and stuff. But if you ask me personally, how would I feel? I think it would be like really great. I think it's a nice opportunity to learn. Like it's not something that you see every day, like on your day-to-day life. You don't always see stuff like this, like VR headsets, things that monitor your brainwaves and all of that stuff. That's something new to many of us and something that we need to experiment before, it all grows, because starting from here, we're just gonna get like better and better things in the future. So it's like a really great opportunity to get started into futures thinking and all of that stuff. So some of us would feel worried. Like I understand that it's something completely new. We might, be worried about this, something completely strange to some of us. Some of us would also feel curious because it's something new. Of course, we're gonna want to think about how this would affect us. Yes, it would be for the future, for futures thinking, because this is just like a foundation for what's about to come in the future. We also feel amazed. Yeah, I get that too. It's something completely new and strange for most of us. Will be really cool and awesome. Some of us will feel unsure. I get that. It's like also being worried. You know, we are all so unfamiliar with this new technology. We might not even believe that it works. We might just think it's something completely fake because it's something that we have never seen before. Some of us also feel excited, intrigued. Some of us feel invaded, which, I mean, yeah, you understand that, right? Like you're being monitored, your brainwaves are being monitored, like something weird. Yeah, like how somebody feels like that too. Well, now I invite you all to watch the following video. All right. Thank you so much for being here, Rick. Now, I want to ask you some questions about, all this that we're doing, okay? So, when you first walked into the classroom and saw the VR headset and EEG devices, what did you think?
Thank you so much for the invitation, first of all. And I think my first impression was shocking, honestly, because it was something really new. And actually, this classroom doesn't look like a normal classroom, not like a traditional one. It seems more like a type of lab or a research center. So at the beginning, I was a little bit scared, but at the same time, I was like curious to know what is what is this technology and how I can use it or I will be able to use it. No.
How it all works? Yeah. And when you put the headset on, did it change your behavior?
Yes, totally. I think knowing that I was being like observed during my activity and knowing that all my brain data was being like recording and measured made me feel like okay, maybe I have to change the way I'm thinking or the way I behave. Like and even I remember that I was like asking myself like, am I too nervous? Am I too I need to should I calm down? Like, like this type of question that I was doing myself. So yeah, it was
Yeah,
interesting.
because that's something completely new to,
Yeah.
most of us. And were you more focused or self-conscious?
I think both. Both
Both.
because I was like more aware of what I was feeling and how I was thinking, but at the same time, using the VR headset made me feel like, okay, I just can see like this VR simulation, through my eyes. So I try to keep focus on the activity and to complete all the tasks.
Okay. And were there any moments where you felt completely absorbed, as in forgetting you were even in a classroom?
Yeah, totally. I think this technology made me feel like, um, yeah, made me feel like forgetting that I was in a real classroom because all of I was seeing is the VR simulation, and at the same time, I'm working with my team, trying to find solutions, trying to imagine different scenarios, trying to achieve different tasks. So yes, I almost forgot that I was in a real classroom with real people.
Yeah, I mean, we wouldn't forget. It's something completely new, and
Yes.
it completely changes the way you see things with the VR headset. I wouldn't be surprised if you really did get immersed. I would have gotten immersed too. And now, did you feel any pressure knowing your physical data was being recorded?
I wouldn't say pressure. Maybe like yes, I changed my behavior, like I said, because it was like a new experience. So I didn't know how to feel because I was actually discovering how to use the technology. I was trying to yes to understand that. So not pressure, but at the same time, like okay, nervous because this is new, and nervous because we have like a limited time to complete all this task that we had to for our project.
You felt curiosity too.
Yes.
Thanks. And did it feel different from a traditional classroom?
Totally, totally different. I think the experience in a traditional classroom is something like you are like it's something normal in your daily life. But using this technology, the EEG devices, and understanding how this type of devices can improve the way you learn is something new, something that not only motivate you to understand more, but also to learning more about this and how you can think out of the box.
I guess VR headsets can help us all learn so much more. It visualizes stuff that we may find difficult to see in real life. And finally, after this experience, do you think you approach what you don't know differently? And has this changed how you think about the future?
Yes, I think it changed a lot because I think when we are thinking about the future or about uncertainty, we are afraid of it. And it's valid, it's okay to be afraid of, but now thinking in this way, like how we can use this technology or how we can use our knowledge to improve the way we learn, the way we teach, the way we are interacting in our real world. And it's like, okay, maybe I'm scared, but I have to be prepared for the future. No, I have to imagine, have to be creative, find solutions, and yeah, I mean, be prepared for the change because change is something normal.
Yeah, because 10 years ago, we didn't have AI, we didn't have VR headsets, and now we have all these technologies. So now imagine 10 years from now. Like, this is probably just something small compared to what we're going to be getting in the future. Well, thank you so much for answering, Eric. Now, I want to bring back the audience. Do we do we believe emotional and physiological data should be a part of future education? Please go to the mentee and answer. All right. Me personally, I think both emotional and physiological data should be taken a part of because it helps teachers and tutors know how their students may feel and vice versa. I think it provides a focus on how we can better some things, and if we're doing things good, it could be a really solid indicator. Well, right now, I just been put on an EEG headset. So, hello, Sergio. How are you doing?
Hello everyone. Nice to meet you. I'm good, and you, Michel?
Good, thank you.
Okay.
I'm going to ask you some questions like I asked Eric, okay?
Okay.
So, what exactly does this headset measure?
Okay. Well, first of all, I am in charge here in the operation of these devices, these multimodal devices for the multimodal learning analytics. That is a methodology that we follow here at the IFE Living Lab. It's for the Institute for the Future of Education at Tec de Monterrey. So I'm going to explain a little bit about what these devices measure. Michel is already wearing this electroencephalogram, right, the EEG, but also is wearing a clinical smartwatch. Is another device that we use here in order to collect different kind of data, multimodal data, and then we analyze what this can be useful to understand the learning scenarios. Okay, so I'm going to start explaining a little bit about the EEG. As you can see here, well, here we are monitoring in real time the brain waves of Michel while he's wearing this device, right? And how do we measure these indicators or these brainwaves? Well, all begin from the electrical activity from the brain, okay? And that is produced by neural communication that happens in the brain, okay? And this electrical data is transformed and is processed in order to have different brain waves that are associated with different cognitive and physiological behaviors, okay, or feelings. So we are seeing here, we are seeing 5 different brain waves. That is the delta, theta, alpha, beta, and gamma. And as I mentioned before, all of them can explain or are associated with some cognitive processes during learning scenarios, right? This device is a portable EEG. It's not as precise as as a clinical one, right? But for research purposes, we can use it. We can use it to collect this kind of information, right? So what can we track from this, for example? Well, in the exercise of the study that we conducted last year here in this laboratory, we could use it to track, for example, the engagement of the students, but also here at the laboratory, we can create algorithms in order to track, for example, levels of concentration, levels of relaxation, stress, fatigue, anxiety, etc. Okay, so those calculations or algorithms are from manipulating and using this kind of data. And I know it can sound a little scary, yeah. But in a little bit, I will explain about the methodology that we follow here. It's completely safe and secure in order to use this kind of biometric data to understand how the experiences and the interactions in these learning scenarios are, right? Also, I want to mention about the smartwatch. This is a clinical smartwatch, okay? And this is for collect different physiological indicators, such as the electrodermal activity, as mentioned before, the blood volume pressure, and also skin temperature and systolic peaks or heart rate variation, right? So with this information, we can add it or complement the electroencephalogram data in order to have a better understanding of what was feeling or what was happening in the body of the student during this learning scenario, right? So this is a little bit what these devices collect and can be used for measure, and that's what we do here in the laboratory.
All right, thank you. What surprised you most when analyzing this project?
That's a very good question, because behind the technology, we are very impressed about the behavior of the students, about the patterns that we find in these indicators, in these scenarios, in these studies. Because, for example, in the past exercise, when we, for example, analyzed the engagement of the students in this activity, we can find patterns where in specific times, the students have an increase in their engagement, but also in other indicators. For example, it could be the concentration levels or the stress levels, and we can match, or we can detect where those peaks or decreasing in these indicators happens, okay? So we match this information with the context of the class, okay? Because it is always important to have this matching in order to understand better what's happening, because the data itself don't tell the whole story, the full story of what was happening in the class, right? So yeah, the behaviors and the collaborative scenarios that happens here while they were wearing these devices, it's very interesting for us. So we, for example, could get findings about how these collaborative work, how these behavior in these classes or these learning scenarios are happening, okay? So that led us to, for example, find where the engagement is in its peak and how to replicate that dynamic, right? In order to reaching it more often, right? That is, it could be one objective of the class or the research study, or it could be another one, and we can adapt this classroom to get that specific indicator or that specific objective of a class like this, right?
All right. And do you think stress can enhance learning?
Okay, stress. Well, usually stress is related with a negative aspect, right? But what is interesting about this is that we can find where or when the stress is a positive element of the class. And I don't mean like overwhelming the students, but creating challenging scenarios that can impulse, that can provide a better collaborative space, right? A very collaborative scenario where all of them can participate and can add some useful element to the development of this pedagogical activity, right? So the idea of using stress or measuring stress is not only to eliminating or removing it at all, but it's creating or design these kind of scenarios where stress could be a positive aspect to get the full commitment and the full participation of the student in their learning, right? To get these better learning scenarios.
All right. And what does correlation look like in physiological terms?
That's a very good question because, well, it depends on the case of the story, right? Because each class is different, and we have kind of different dynamics that can be happening in the classroom, right? But it's very important to measure with these kind of devices, not only with the classical or the traditional form about the subjective perception of the student about how was the class for him, but yes, I think it's important to have a correlation, a match about what was the body or the mind telling about what was happening in the class, right? And also combining with what the student tells about what was feeling in the class. Okay, so as mentioned before, the analysis or the situation that we are analyzing in these learning scenarios is not complete only to collect the data and analyze the data itself. We need to have the whole story, counting also the voice of the student, right?
And finally, what safeguards were in place to protect students?
That's a very good question, and it's very important to answer it in order to attend those comments in the Menti about the worry or the unsure feelings about using this kind of devices. And yeah, it's here where I want to talk about the methodology that we follow here, and is often followed in this kind of research studies, and is always the voluntary participation and align the experiment or the study to the validated ethical protocol. Okay, and we, as we are here located in a university, we have obviously to strictly follow a ethical protocol in order to guarantee the protection and the correct use of this biometric data, because it's sensitive data. Yeah. So what we do here is to offer a consent form, and voluntary participation for all of the students is always voluntary, and it's always guaranteed that the data is anonymized and only used for research purposes. Okay, it's anonymized and numerically encrypted in order to perform this kind of analysis that we allows us to find these moments of, for example, the concentration levels or the alertness levels, or whatever is the indicator that is relevant to the story, right? So yeah, it's very important to always follow that rule. We cannot collect the biometric data just for fun. So yeah, it's the rule and the practice that all scientific and researcher has to follow. Yeah.
All right, thank you so much. Now, I'd like to ask both of you something, all right? As a researcher and student, what did we both learn about this project?
Okay, as a student, I think I learned that I also can not only contribute, but I mean also collaborate with research. So, and also that our participation as a student and as a young, it's very valuable to improve the way we learn, the way our teachers elaborate the dynamic of the classes, and it's like a new perspective of how I can involve into research.
Okay, and from my point of view, it's a very interesting question because I think besides the technology and the technologic part of using this kind of devices that is like a very innovative element in these scenarios, I learn a lot about what the students are feeling in these scenarios. And in contrast to for example, the first impression that a student could have when hear about, you will be equipped with these kind of devices and your data will be collected. What we see and what I saw in this kind of dynamics are that the students are very motivated and are very curious about what they were using. And well, in many situations, they also put more attention in the class than if they were not wearing these devices, right? So, well, but specifically, I want to mention about the indicators itself, about how they were behavior on all the students during these classes. And it's very useful, not only for the researcher or not only for the institution, but also for the professors and also the students itself. And I think it's very important that they can also know about their data and how they perform and they behave in these classes, in all of these programs, right? So yeah, it's a lot of learning and knowledge that you get.
Mm-hmm. And if you could both redesign one element of this classroom for 2035, what would it be?
Okay, that's a really good question. I think all the dynamic was really new for me and discovering like all this new technology and but focus on education. And I think maybe like a real-time feedback. I mean, of course, like after recollect all this data for the dynamic of the team and all of this, and like instructions to improve my performance during the activity, but in real time. Like, I know maybe this is so futuristic, even more like of this, but I think it can improve actually the teamwork and how all the class is taken.
I agree. I totally agree with your point of view, Eric. Yes, I think the same thing. I would redesign. I mean, we already have these kind of devices that we can use to collect this data, but all the analysis and all the information about what was happening in the class is gotten after the class itself, right? So having an instrument, having a tool, a system that could collect and could tells what is happening in the class for the professor and for the students also in real time would be very impressive and very useful, I think, in the manage and the designs of these classes, right? So yeah, I think designing a system that could have this real-time feedback for the students and professors could be awesome for all of us and for the future classroom. I think that's the way, and the efforts should be focused in these years to get that.
All right, that's awesome. And one final question for everybody here. What defines the future classroom? Uh, it it's please answer the inventive or and scan the QR. co-teaching. For me, the future's classroom would be something really innovating, okay? That something where, or somewhere where we can have, you know, a lot of stuff like this. VR headsets, trackers, all these headsets, and all this stuff that diagnose us so that, you know, we can have a better learning. Our teachers or tutors can have an easier time learning and knowing what we need. And all of this stuff and equipment, all of this is really innovating and helps this cause is something really good. And I hope that in the near future we can carry stuff like this out. Today, we all explored something important in the future. Classrooms. Future classrooms isn't just about technology. It's a dialogue between generations. It's about listening to data, experience, and joining voices. If we're uncertain about our future, the most powerful skill we can all develop is learn how to navigate it together. Thank you all for watching. We'll be open for questions now.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Please be questions by chat or by voice, whatever you feel like. If you can learn to us, because we are not in the laptop.
Yeah, I don't know if I actually have a question, but I am just blown away by all of this work. It is energizing, innovative. There are so many words that I have. It just truly remarkable. Bravo to all of you.
Awesome. Thank you very much.
So much.
It was for us as a professor, it was a very, very enlightening experience because since we are dedicated to teach future methodologies, we always wonder what happened in their minds. I mean, what happened in their bodies? How do they perceive the future, or how do they engage in thinking about the future, so we could improve the way we teach these type of methodologies. And this study was mind-blowing because it gave us a lot of information and of course a lot of tools to improve our teaching methodology. So it was awesome.
I would like to just say that as you were going through your project pieces, and educators often teach the future, what is the difference between truly performative and truly showing agency? And not only is this project demonstrate that, however, the implications to truly be able to demonstrate that with the work that you're doing, profound. I mean, I was going through the whole process and being able to answer that question with fidelity we are there. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Randy. I think there's a questions. Are there disadvantages to these uses of technologies? Have you reflected on that? Disadvantages. I believe probably the discomfort. What do you think, Eric? Maybe it wasn't that comfortable to use them, to wear them.
Yeah, I think maybe at the first time it's not comfortable because it's something that you don't know. But after knowing and understanding the main purpose of all of this is like, okay, you know that is for a specific reason, no, and it's for improvement. So maybe just like discovering it, but after that, I think it's okay. I won't say like a disadvantage.
Something that we do really often here, or try to do very often here at Tec de Monterrey, is actually move the students around. You know, not having them always in the classroom, not having them always doing the same things, but bringing them in these type of spaces, or bringing them out of the classroom to do something different. And that's the first thing that we try to engage in. But afterwards, I think it was probably the discomfort using the devices themselves, because some of these ladies, for example, they were wearing their hair down, and you couldn't put the EEG correctly, or the embrace plus the biometric device was kind of, where do I put it? I already have a watch, and you know, it was kind of more like that, or the VR device itself. When you are wearing the VR, you cannot use the EEG. You can only have the VR. So they had to choose, either they wanted to monitor their brain waves, or they want to engage in the VR activity. So it was kind of like a process, or who is going to do it? Oh, I get dizzy. Sometimes when you use VR, you get dizzy. So some of them were like, no, I will wear it because I get dizzy. And it was kind of a process of how we can monitor all three things simultaneously within the different groups of students, and the different ways. And we had students from the business school and the architecture school, so their mindset is different. I mean, because they are taking some different classes and topics and courses, and their mindset was different, and they had different results. So that was very excited. But I think that was the most challenging thing.
Right? And it's important to say that Sergio says about the protocol. We had a meeting with the students before they come to the living lab, and there are protocol. Please tell us about.
Yes, we first design, for example, the what is involved in the experiment. Okay, so that which kind of devices we have to use in order to get the indicator that what that want to measure, but also the we prepare this consent form, this form that we provide to the students in order to they voluntary signing in order to if they want to participate, and gives us their biometrical data to these studies, these analysis, right? But always with the main focus of research, yes. So we have this kind of alignment on the ethical protocol of Tec de Monterrey here at the university, and we have a contact, close contact with a specific team that is committed to establish all the things that this protocol has to cover, okay, in order to guarantee the correct use of the data.
And some students actually approached us as professors to ask for their own data, which we don't have. I mean, we don't have their own data. We just have a summarized data. So we send them to the living lab, and they approach the living lab to get their own data. So they could think about how they behaved and how they improved, like Eric mentioned. So some of them got their own data, and that was really awesome.
Okay, and one final question for Elvira and Fabiola as professors. How do you both feel about this experience?
It was an honor to me because this is a amazing lab. And we are working with Elvira, and it's a pleasure because all the methodologies, all the techniques, all the gadgets, that are used in this study, this investigation, I think that are the best of the best, and I am very proud for the effort of my students, like Eric and And then it's for me the inspirational. As a leader of the project, I was very honored to have them on board with me. Besides Fabiola, we also had another professor from the entrepreneurship.
Rocio is here.
Rocio is here around. Rocio Farias, she was also a part of the project, was another professor from the entrepreneurship class. And then we had another professor, Annette Arambula, which was the professor from the architecture business school, the architectural school. So I was very honored to have them on board and follow me into this crazy project. I think all of us learned a lot from it. Is a question for Sophia?
Yes. Hi. We don't have much time, but I'm still gonna ask the question. Well, first of all, congratulations. I really liked the session also because I'm from Colombia, so it's really nice to see that projects are coming from Latin America, not only like United States, Europe, Asia. So congratulations for that. But I do have a question, and is that if you've seen any risks of this type of technologies, because like you are using them like with good intentions, and it's really nice that you're doing this. But if, let's say, anyone takes this type of technologies with bad intentions, is there like any risk that delicate data it's taken or something? Because let's say yesterday I had a terrible experience with AI that someone created pictures of me and I was like, what? So with this type of technologies, is there any like possibility that there's like a risk with delicate data?
That's a very good question, Sophia. I would like to answer it. And yeah, if the technology is in bad hands, obviously, always under that premise. Well, yes, it could be, for example, well, with that, you can track these kind of indicators, but like I mentioned before. And one thing that came to my mind is that, for example, well, they can know which things or which specific actions could elevate, for example, your stress or give you more fatigue. Yeah, right? And if someone have bad intentions, maybe can produce or I don't know, produce these kind of scenarios where someone is feeling bad and very, very wrong. But more of that, I don't think it's like any, for example, a risk that could be really dangerous in order to, for example, well, it's information about your body, right? For example, the temperature, the brain waves, but in my experience, well, the uses that all of this kind of data is used for, I don't get something that could be very, very dangerous or risky in that thing, right? But I'm not a doctor, for example. I'm not a neuroscientist. I'm not a doctor, and maybe it's far of my knowledge. If that could mean some risk or some danger in if someone have your brainwave activity and your skin temperature or the blood of your pressure. But if, for example, if a doctor could say, okay, if someone have this information about you, could know about some condition that you could have in your body, for example, can make a bad or a wrong diagnostic, and well, that can follow to all different kind of implications in the health area, right? But it depends on which use we'll have this data. But for instance, I don't know if something could be could cause these kind of situations, right?
Thank you. Okay, I think we can start wrapping up. We're running out of time. Thank you for your answer, and also congratulations in general
Thank you
for
so
the
much.
session.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you for
All right.
being here. Have a great
Thank
World
you.
Future Day.
Thank you, Michel.
Thank you all.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Have a nice
I'm
day.
gonna close the session, all right? So as we
Yes.
wrap up this inspiring session, thank you all for being part of World Future Day Young Voices. Your perspectives and participation have made this conversation truly meaningful, and the journey doesn't end here. New facilitators and fresh conversations begin at the top of each hour, so you are welcome to stay and continue exploring future possibilities with us. Quick announcements. If you enjoyed today, this kind of learning doesn't stop here. It continues through Teach the Future's global online youth futures community. Right now, we are offering the following learning experience. Campaigns for Change builds award-winning projects using futures literacy skills. Join Young Voices FutureWise Institute. We apply these learnings directly to your active projects and future initiatives. As part of World Futures Day, there is a special discount code to register. And if you're not ready to take part in a learning experience yet, you can still stay connected. We'd love to hear about your experience, share your feedback, and receive your badge of participation. So please fill out our survey. I'll share the links in the chat right now. Give me a moment, please. Okay. Crispin already shared the links. Thank you, Crispin. So now the breakout rooms will close and you will be sent to the main room to prepare for the next session. It would be really nice if you could stay and stay for the sessions of the other facilitators.